would give a resounding no. And then, you know, follow up with a few reasons why, whether it be...
Hey guys, in this video, I want to respond to some of Joe's ideas, not to attack him or sound better than him, but to show where I think Christianity actually agrees a lot, and then goes further and completes the picture. So, you don't have to agree with me, I'm not asking you, I'm still learning. My goal is to put a Christian worldview on the table next to Joe's view, and let you think about it. If you haven't already, I would recommend watching the first video to get a little background on who I am.
I'm not an atheist. I'm not an atheist. Let's just start off on that. I don't believe in any organized religion God. I do not believe in any of the Abrahamic religions' idea of a God. But I do not deny the existence of a supreme being or God or gods. I do not think any of the organized religions that have been put forth in front of me are correct. But I do not... I would say I'm agnostic. Maybe in between agnostic and atheist, right? And the idea that I don't know, so I'm not choosing, but I do not agree with any organized religion that I have heard of in my life.
Joe in this clip is very clear that he doesn't buy the Christian picture of God or any organized religion he's seen so far. He says he's somewhere between agnostic and atheist. He doesn't deny that some kind of God or ultimate reality could exist, but he doesn't see a good reason to believe that any religious system has described it correctly. From what he shared, it sounds like he tried to believe, but in the back of his mind he couldn't, so he didn't want to force it. That lines up with what Jeff Meyer says in Understanding the Times.
What we believe and how do we know that we're right? All those kinds of questions. I maybe had 10 or 20 ideas to grapple with. Young adults today, well, I Googled religion 3 days ago on the internet, 1 billion results. And everybody says they know the truth, but they're all contradictory. How can it possibly be the case? And how do you decide, if you're a person growing up in this culture, how do you decide what is true and what is false? How do you know what is right and what is wrong?
Everyone still has a worldview, even if they reject organized religion. Still has beliefs about reality, knowledge, morality, and meaning. He just doesn't see them as grounded in a personal God. As a Christian, I'd say Joe does have kind of a religion in that sense, a set of ultimate beliefs he lives by. For example, he believes meaning is something we project, not something we discover from God.
Keep in mind, I said, I felt hate for the universe. I didn't say God. I said I felt hate for the universe. I remember being mad that the way life works is that people die, right? I hate that we are born into the world and you get to live a life, you build connections with people that you love, and then you watch them die and you die yourself.
In this clip, he talks about his grandfather, who sadly passed away, who was basically his father figure. He talks about feeling hatred, not toward God, but toward the universe, and how death works. He's right that everyone feels real grief. Losing someone you love hurts whether you believe in God or not. Where our views differ is what we do with that grief. From Joe's perspective, his grandfather is just gone. No soul, no continued existence, just a living memory.
I think my grandpa's gone. I think my grandpa does not exist in any fashion. I don't think his soul is anywhere. I think he ceases to exist. He is but a memory in my mind, and that is it. And I hate that, right? And you could say just change that. I can't change the way that I think because logically I can't convince myself to believe in something that I don't believe in, right? Like deep down I know that I don't believe in it. I can't just lie till it's true, right?
So his anger is aimed at the structure of reality itself. Why is this how the universe works? From a Christian perspective, the anger actually makes sense in a deeper way, because Christianity says death isn't a shooter. Now things were meant to be. We believe God created a good world. Death entered through sin, and God himself entered history in Jesus to conquer death through the resurrection.
Piece some of these things together. There's reasons why some of the greatest journalists, greatest historians, greatest lawyers, and thinkers of all time have stopped and been like, wow, there's a powerful case that Jesus lived, died, buried, and appeared to people on the third day.
So Christians aren't less sad about death, but we have somewhere to aim our hope. With Joe, it feels like he gets angry at how things are, but has no real hope beyond that. While Christians grieve, but not as those who have no hope of seeing loved ones again.
To say that humans are no more valuable than rocks is to say that because nobody's giving me a definitive set of moral beliefs and a definitive set of what is valuable and invaluable, then that means nothing's valuable, right? If there is no God, Allah, or Yeshua, then there is nothing, right? There's no value in anything. And that's like, yes, I think religion gives more value to life inherently, but to say that if you don't believe in God, there's no value in anything, like it's not God or nihilism, man, is more kind of what I'm getting at. Like it's not, that's what he's saying. He is positing that if you are not religious and you decline the idea of a God, you are inherently nihilist, you have no value in anything, nothing matters, and that's it, right? Like, there's still other philosophical ideologies outside of, yeah, no, the universe has no purpose, nothing matters, and we're all going to die, and who cares? Like, that's not what it is, right? It's not just like Friedrich Nietzsche or religion. Like, there's a middle ground.
Joe is absolutely right to reject the idea that humans have no more value than rocks, and that nobody actually lives that way. We treat human lives very seriously. We mourn genocide, we celebrate courage, we honor sacrifice. In his content about how humans are terrifying, he talks about wars, the Holocaust, school shootings, and he calls them horrors, not just stuff he personally dislikes. He talks like these things really shouldn't happen, which sounds a lot like objective moral language. As a Christian, that's exactly how the moral experience feels. Some things are really evil and some things are truly good, no matter what any culture decides. Where we differ is our foundation. Joe basically says humans are animals. We give things value and meaning in something we attribute, not something built into the universe. Christianity agrees that we experience value and meaning, but says that's not an illusion. It's because humans are made in the image of God. Our rationality, our conscience, our horror at genocide, and our instinct to protect the weak all reflects God's character. So Joe's moral intuitions aren't the problem. They're actually evidence that he's living in God's world as God's image bearer, even if he doesn't like the explanation.
Well, I think humans create meaning. I think that meaning isn't something that definitively exists, right? To relate it to gaming, life is Minecraft with no Ender Dragon. There's no goal. You create your own goals. You create your own purpose. You create your own things that you drive yourself towards. Life is Roblox.
I honestly like this analogy if there was no God or no larger story. Life is really like Minecraft with no Ender Dragon. You create your own purpose, your own goals. Joe is capturing what a lot of modern people feel. We're animals with certain drives, and beyond that, you pick your own meaning. He also admits that he slides close to nihilism. Christianity agrees that life feels like a story, but claims the story is real and there is actually an Ender Dragon, a final goal. The final goal is knowing and loving God and being transformed into the likeness of Christ. So as a Christian, meaning is something to discover, not just to invent. It's rooted in a person outside of me, which means my choices, suffering, and love for people connect to an eternal story, not just a coping strategy. Do not get this twisted. I still struggle every day, but I keep coming back to that bigger story.
Nobody can do anything moral because every action that you ever do is for a selfish purpose. Because opening a door for somebody while it is good, you may expect something in return, right? Giving somebody a favor at work may be good, but you might be looking for a raise, right? You should just do good to do good, right? And the pleasure you obtain from helping somebody is all you should need to receive. And that's, I think, if there's any takeaway on living life, I think that's fucking it, man. Do good to do good. Don't do good to get other shit out of it, right? Because I think the other shit will come, but you shouldn't expect it, if that makes sense.
Joseph's view on Marcus Aurelius might actually surprise some Christians because he's drawn to self-control, virtue, not needing other people's approval, and doing good without expecting a reward. Those are deeply Christian themes too. The New Testament constantly talks about self-control, humility, loving enemies, and doing good in secret without seeking praise.
I'm having an opinion, but you should go through life being more observant than opinionated. And this is coming from somebody that's very opinionated. But I also try to take a step back a lot of the time when people do disagree with me and not get angry about it, in the sense that, like, I really enjoy talking about philosophy, religion, and politics, even if you don't agree with me, because I want to know why you think the way you think, your experience in your life, and being more observant in that sense, because that enables people to be closer together, come at more common grounds with one another, and push society in a better direction rather than separate.
Joe also says he enjoys hearing from people who disagree with him, and he wants a real conversation instead of yelling. It's the same posture Christians are commanded to have. giving reason for their hope with gentleness and respect. Where Christianity goes further than Stoicism is this. Stoicism often says, change your perception, accept your fate, control your response. Christianity often says, yes, be sober-minded, but also God is actively at work. History is going somewhere, and suffering can be redemptive, not just tolerated. Stoicism says, make peace with death because it's inevitable. Christianity then says, take death seriously because Christ has actually defeated it.
How is this the argument that we're having? If we're going to do an a priori, we're doing an a priori argument on whether or not God exists, why are we using the Bible? I have nothing wrong with the Bible. The Bible matters to people who believe in God, but you can't believe in the Bible prior to believing in God. You believe in God, then the Bible. You believe in Christianity, then the Bible, right? You don't believe in the Bible before God. How are you going to believe in a book written by a God that you don't believe in, right? So you have to prove that you believe in God first prior to using the Bible. It's like, I never understand why he just keeps going.
That's a fair pushback. If someone doesn't believe in God at all, just quoting Bible verses as if they already accept it won't move them. And in this video, I'm not trying to prove anything.
The evidence is that the Gospels were written 20 to 60 years after the fact. The earliest fragment of a Gospel is the John Rylands fragment in the John Rylands Museum in Manchester, England. It's a fragment of the Gospel of John. It's dated between 117 and 138 AD. So that is 30 to 60 years after the writing of John, which is an incredibly short span of time. The early church fathers, Ignatius, Bishop of Antioch, and Clement, Bishop of Rome, quote Matthew, Mark, and Luke in letters that they wrote in 95 and in 110 AD. So that is why I am convinced the evidence is the Gospels were written not 150 years after the fact. They were written in the first century, and obviously the eyewitnesses were around.
Christians usually distinguish between general revelation and special revelation. General, what we can know about God from nature, reason, and conscience. Special, what God has revealed in Scripture and in Jesus. We're talking with someone like Joe, who doesn't accept the Bible as God's words. It makes sense to start with general questions like, why does the universe look finely tuned for life? Why do we experience moral obligations? Why is conscience even a thing?
I bought a custom bowling ball.
Then if someone becomes open to the possibility of God, the Bible becomes relevant as a historical record and as God's special revelation. Joe also says you can't prove or disprove God, and at the end of the day, you have faith or you don't. But Christians don't see faith as a coin flip.
Joe, you lack faith. I know, but I don't lack faith because I don't want to have faith. I lack faith because I don't have enough to launch me into faith. You have faith because you reasonably believe that that is true, whatever religion you fall under, right? Or faith-based belief that you fall under. You believe it because there's enough reasonable evidence for you to think, okay, this isn't that much of a stretch. I believe in this. I would say that this is likely true. I'm going to dedicate my life to this. Whether it be through first-hand accounts or, religious teachings, there's a multitude of reasons that make you faith-based, wanting to believe in something, right? But for me, I don't have that. So it's like, just as you can't see my consciousness, I can't see yours.
Faith is more like trust based on evidence and testimony, similar to how you trust a car you're not driving, or a chair you sit in without doing physics calculations every time. So where does that leave us with Joe? From his videos, he clearly takes death, suffering, and grief seriously. He takes morality seriously, and sees things like genocide and school shooting as horrifying, not just unfortunate. He takes meaning seriously and wrestles with absurdism and nihilism, but still lands on a life worth living. And he takes philosophy seriously, reading people like Marcus Aurelius and inviting his viewers into a deeper reflection. As a Christian, a lot of those instincts make sense. Where we differ is the foundation. Joe tends to say we're animals in an indifferent universe, and we create our own meaning and value. Christianity says we're more than animals. We're made in the image of God. The universe is not indifferent. It was created good and will be renewed. Meaning is not just invented. It's discovered from the God who made us. And death is not the final word because Jesus has risen. You don't have to buy that. I'm not asking you to. I'm just laying out where Christians and Joe are similar and different. For me, I see where Joe's coming from. And I can't fully know his position because I've been a Christian for most of my life. And not always a good one. But after hearing multiple worldviews, I still think Christianity makes the most sense. All I'd ask is that you test it. Compare Joe's worldview and the Christian worldview, and ask which one makes better sense of your hunger for meaning, your outrage at injustice, your love for people, and your fear of death. If you want to push back or ask any questions or share your own perspective, please drop it in the comments. My goal isn't to win an argument, it's to seek truth and show how Christianity, in my view, doesn't shut down philosophy and actually fulfills its deepest questions. Thanks for watching, and thanks to Joe for making content that forces people like me to think. I don't know how many people will see this, but if you haven't, go check out Joe Bart's channel, and I'll see you next time. God bless.